They're just all around good watermen.
Yeah. Well,
Your
Mark,
boy mom.
boy, well, my daughter is,
Yeah, yeah.
she's a hammer because she's got the two older brothers. But yeah, I just always told the kids, find your passion and don't worry about money. It's all going to come together. Just do what makes you feel alive. Like whatever makes you feel on that razor's edge of presence. I want you to go out and discover that and make that your lifestyle. And career will come later. Lifestyle is, to me, lifestyle is everything. Ben Severson was a big guru to me growing up. I did this bodyboard tour for a couple years, and Ben was always there, and he always instilled such great knowledge. But one of the first things he said was, "Lifestyle is everything."
Oh,
Right?
Ben. Okay,
Ben
Ben.
Severson. He's a guru. He's in Molokai now.
I surfed with him.
He's
I
incredible.
I bodyboarded with him,
Hmm.
and I surf,
Hmm.
but I bodyboarded with him, because my cousin was bodyboarding with him. I was just like, I want to bodyboard with Ben just to say I body
Right.
fucking boarded with him.
Right, because he emanates that law of least effort. All those guys do. Look at Mike though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they're not even trying anymore, and they're in their 50s.
I saw that clip of him out at Bowls, bro.
Oh,
Fucking killed it.
yeah. Same.
Effortless still. Effortless
Every
still.
effort. Like you go back every decade, and you're like, oh yeah, it's the same flawless style. Mike perpetuates
They're outliers though.
every swell. I mean, he chases swell, gets after it. The guy is just amazing.
Okay, I got a couple of people. So by Selfie King wants to know what was her favorite movie? What was your favorite movie?
Oh, wow. Favorite movie. Okay, so I don't watch very many movies. I don't have 2 hours to invest in sitting there. I don't know. I just I'm always, it's a mom thing, I guess. Okay, what category? Can you give me a category? Because
Just all time favorite movie. Like if you have to
there's
share,
so many though.
if you have to share a movie with your kids, like your kids
A
are
Bug's
asking,
Life,
A Bug's Life.
Kung Fu Panda.
Okay, they're over 18.
Over 18. Oh, sorry. Okay, so during COVID, we watched all the we did the Matrix trilogy. We did all the Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit. What's it called? Hunger Games.
Okay.
Okay, we did. So okay, so this will lead me back. Let me just go back to high school. I had a teacher, and he was amazing, and he made us watch all the Jesus movies. Okay, Last Temptation of Christ, Moses, all of that, and then we watched all the Braveheart,
Oh, I love that
English
movie.
feudal system
Oh,
movies. Okay. And then we watched all the war, Hamburger Hill, Black Hawk Down,
okay.
and
Yeah.
then we watched Star Wars,
Mhm.
and then we wove it all together.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that was a great teacher, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so still kind of as a family, we like to visit historical accounts and maybe some futuristic, unknown type
Mhm.
sci-fi
Well,
movies.
I think that the historical accounts still play in the foundation of these futuristic movies also.
For
Like
sure.
look at Star Wars.
Yeah.
You can look back at Star Wars. It's just set in a different time, but it still has the same values and moral compass and you know,
Same
yeah.
stories, just different time frame. And what is time? It's all illusion. So it's always going to play out like this.
Mhm.
We're not in any different space than they all were, in
Yeah.
essence. Everyone had the tribulations, and so we're kind of in one now, which is kind of fun to see.
We're in the wildest
We are
moment
in.
of my life.
It's a peculiar time.
Dude, like every morning, like I'm coming to work, like I skim through podcasts like Lex Friedman, Joe Rogan.
Nice.
I'm skimming through my podcast. What do I want to listen to on the way here? And then and once in a while, like I'll start listening to the podcast, and I'll just be like, "What the fuck?" I feel like I'm living in a science fiction movie. When I look at everything,
Hmm.
I'm just like, dude, like if I told myself the same thing my 3 years ago, if I was able to have a conversation with myself, sit in front of myself and say, "Joni, get ready.
Yeah,
This is
would you
what's going to
see
happen."
this?
I would have thought I was on a high on mushrooms or you
Yeah,
know,
nobody saw this coming.
nobody saw it coming.
Well, I think some of us were clued into a shift in the timeline. I think a few years back, I remember. Well, I myself, I tore my ACL, and I was like, okay, I'm out of here. I need a year to heal. I'm moving to Molokai. Like, I'm worthless on Oahu. Like, what am I gonna do, right? So it took a year. Moved to Molokai on crutches. Wait, 20-mile marker. Hung out for a year and healed, and knew that I needed to farm because if something were to happen on Oahu, single mom,
Mhm,
what am I gonna do?
mhm.
So I dipped out, and that was great. I learned so much there. I had to go back to work, and it's really hard to commute. There's 3 flights a day,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and I fly internationally, so I'm like, okay, I can't do this. Whatnot. I got to move back to Oahu, and it gave me literal anxiety. I'm like, I can't do that. I just can't do it. And then I came here because this was like the next best thing.
oh, that's
But I
cool.
had somewhat of an inclination, like, well, I felt the vulnerability as a mom, like, okay, what am I gonna do if something happens? If something happens on this little island, what is like what there's nothing. I have no resource here.
That's
And
funny. I Everything you just said, um, I was just talking about earlier. Like
mhm.
somebody was asking me just earlier about about Hawaii and remember I was just talking about that. They asked me, do you feel safe over there? Was it on my live or something? But they said, oh,
Oh,
like
someone
how
asked you if you felt
yeah,
safe?
how do you
Okay.
feel? Like how do you feel over there? You
Yeah.
guys okay out there?
Mhm,
And I'm
mhm.
just like, the thing about there's like two places in Hawaii that have a better chance at survival and
Okay,
making this
let's
thing.
not tell.
Yeah,
No, just kidding.
yeah,
But I mean, we can put two and two together, right?
yeah.
It's
Well,
it's
I said,
here.
yeah, I said it was
It's
here in
definitely
Molokai.
here. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
said it was
those
here in
are
Molokai, and if
yeah.
the barges stop going to Oahu, you're gonna see a lot of killing. You're gonna see a lot
Oh,
of
you're gonna see guns and
robbing each other, and it's that place because of it's not because of the people, it's because of the circumstance and the
yeah.
population,
Oh, absolutely.
and
And the water source.
the water. Oh yeah, I
So,
said that too.
right? So I was living on Old Pully Road. I had no reason to leave. I had this gorgeous jungalow, I called it. I was tucked away. I had 3 water systems around my little hale. I had 2 all wise and new on a stream. I'm like, okay, well, at least I got water, but even that's not enough. But I envisioned just like Hunger Games, like coming for the coming up Mauka and holding down water,
Yeah.
like just like so anyway, it was really wild. And so the first day I moved into my house, I remember putting the key in the door, and my phone started alarming. And I'm like, what the heck? I didn't know it was the phone at first. I just heard that red alert alarm. Like, so I'm like, shoot, I guess the prior owner didn't tell me about an alarm system. And sure enough, it was the missile alert system.
Oh
And I said,
fuck.
well, that's why. Like, that was why I left. That was the first like validated
Well, it kind of
truth.
almost is, dude. Though when you think about it,
Yeah,
like
no, for
if the
sure.
universe sends people signs, dude, that was a sign.
Yeah. And then my
100%.
son, so funny, he went viral. He did this thing, something about like calling Kim Jong out in the front yard. Did you see that?
I did. Dude, it was
He's
funny as
like, I
shit.
get plenty on for bang. That happened that same day too. So just ridiculous. My kids are ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, that was funny as shit too.
Mainly, we're learning. Well, they've always known to be sustainable without claiming to be sustainable. Like go and Mark's been catching food and feeding friends and family for years since he
Mhm,
was 15,
mhm.
and not making it this big trendy statement,
No, that
but
was
just
your
something
oldest
you
one.
do. Yeah, we're doing it, and we're not trying to like we're just doing it. We have farms. We're doing it because as a family we want to. I don't want it to sound trendy, but farming is the future, right? Sustainability is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
future, and so
I want that to be trendy though.
it is
I think it's
trendy.
beneficial if it becomes more trendy.
It is trendy, right? But we got it. Trendy often comes with leverage and monetizing. Let's just farm to farm for your
Yeah,
ohana, like back in the day, like
yeah.
Kuleana lot. Like just do it to do it. Like don't try to leverage and make money and do all these things. Just do it and feed your family, and then if get left over, then we share, right?
Mhm.
that I love that system.
Mhm.
But you got to do it first, and it ain't easy. Like
Well,
I
it's
said,
not.
it was a miracle you got me off my farm today because I have so much work to do.
Mhm.
But and we're not even we're even close to being sustainable. Like I'm not even, we have mature fruit trees and stuff, and we got some stuff, but it's not even what I would call a farm yet. Like there's so
It's not
much
where you
still.
want it to be
Yeah,
yet.
no, not
Okay.
even close.
It'll
Like
get
these
there.
guys at Ina University and what these guys are
Kubika
doing.
them, these
Yeah,
are
I gotta
yeah,
go
'cause
down there and learn because they're doing it. And actually a lot of people on this island are doing
yeah, 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 yeah. We got like I mean, how I got involved in the these kukua projects at at the Lois were staying up Mauna Kea. I
Mm-hmm.
made friends with some of the boys, the regular crew that I
Yep.
hung out with and stuff. Then he's telling you about his farm and their Loi and how it's really hard
Oh,
and they need help. So right there, I was just like, "Bro,
yeah.
hey." So I talked to and because of farmers market,
Yeah.
I got a lot of
I
friends.
like
Yeah,
it.
I got a lot of friends, and
I
I
like
know a
it.
lot of people through farmers market and we're a real. We're a clothing brand, but we're a lifestyle clothing brand.
Sure.
So all I had to just do was just say, "Hey, what boys? You guys are going on books, help out,
Yeah, you
please."
guys been down Waipio.
Yeah. So
Yeah, good.
right there, I was just like, "Bro, we just go down a couple of days or something," and then
I like that.
I
You just
had
made it a thing. Just do
yeah,
it.
yeah. But then I had a videographer staying with me too, and then he's like, "Oh, can I video?" I was like, "Yeah, fuck
Of
yeah,
course.
let's go."
Document this. Make
Yeah.
it more of a known reality that
Mhm.
we're able to Malama, just reach out to your community. That's going to make us tighter, helping each other out.
Yeah.
Like I need help on my farm and I would be happy to reciprocate and that person who's helping will reciprocate. It's just a thing. It's the law of reciprocity is such a beautiful universal law where you can't help but be embellished with abundance when you
When
participate.
you
So,
yeah.
and we have to help each other
Yeah.
because we can't do it ourselves.
Oh, totally. Like we did
There's
that
no
with him,
way.
made the video, put the video out. Then I had another friend who was like, "Hey, me and my family, like ours is all grown over, bro. But me and my family was trying to
I
restore
like it.
ours."
Yeah.
And then what can
Wildfire.
you can
Yeah.
do the same thing. I was like, I can do the same thing.
Yeah.
I gotta clear my schedule and you
That's
know,
how Hawaiians are. They'll show up and they'll work hard
yeah.
in honor of, what that family needs. Yeah. That's how
Mhm.
they kept the families so tight. They would
Yeah.
hanai each other's kids
Mhm,
and
yeah,
have
definitely.
caretaking responsibility. They
Yeah.
would swap these duties that
Mhm.
would weave the families even closer.
A
So
social fabric, yeah.
yeah, I'd like to see that more here too. Like I help you guys help us. We come, you guys like come Puno, we go come Kohala, like
Yeah,
like that whole thing. Like
totally.
erase the boundaries and really come together because yeah, we need to. Because we need to.
I mean, it was so on the Maui one, it was like a 3-day one, and but what I noticed, because I'm not gonna say I bribed people, but
Mm-mm.
I made these gift bags together just to
Oh,
mahalo to
nice.
people that to
Nice.
come out and
Yeah, because you can. That's vai. You
yeah,
can, because you can.
yeah, yeah.
Good for you.
But also because like I like I like to make these types of things cool. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, so and I would. Here's the weird thing. Like, I got a little bit of blowback. Like, oh, fake Hawaiian, fake farmer,
Oh
and I was just
no.
like,
Oh
oh my
no.
god, no, just because I made a video out of it,
No, we're
and
not. What? Okay.
no, so I made a video, and he's all fake Hawaiian, fake farmer. Oh, he's just
Aw.
doing it for the gram.
Aw.
And it's
Oh,
real. It's frustrating.
okay. So to me, a utopia is like Jetsons meets the Hobbits. Like we have to have technology and we have to have that rooted cultural system. Like that's just where we are.
Mhm.
100 years ago, yeah, never mind cameras, all this kind of
Yeah, yeah.
never mind. I would love not to have EMFs all day in my head,
Mhm.
right? But we live in a time where it's information. It's Aquarian. I don't want to get hippie on you, but we are in the Aquarian
Get hippie.
age.
Let's go.
The Aquarian age embarked December 21st. And that was when, coincidentally, Kilauea erupted, or Halemama rather. And so, and all the planets were in alignment. So we had the star Bethlehem, we had all these things already on the board. And then Halemama erupted. And it just kind of contributed to the environment of, okay, we are in a transitional stage here. December 21st marked the birth of the age of Aquarius, blah, 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 all these energies. So the age of Aquarius is communication, it's unity, consciousness, it's friendship, it's technology, and that's where we're at. So we can't escape the fact that we need technology. We don't need AI under our skin. We don't need, transhumanism and nanotechnology. We don't need that kind of technology, but we do need the technology to weave us together. And to me, it's Jetsons meets the Shire. You have to
Oh, that's a
have
good,
both.
that's a cool little concept. I
That's
like
my
that.
that's my goal for my farm. Like it's gonna be, you know, um, very modern in respect to some of the appliances and the way we're gonna
Tools.
fuel the farm energetically. We're gonna try to um anyway, I don't want to get too much ahead of myself, but we'd like to have more free energy systems implemented in the farming experience, but have, all the cultural protocol. Like, so we're going to use the moon and, all the
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah. Oh, totally.
So we have to have both.
It's
And
a
it's
formula that
fun,
works.
it's a really cool algorithm.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of cool that, we're on the big island and yeah, there's all these scientists here. It's all happening on this island, I feel.
Yeah.
It's it's too forward thinking, obviously, with TMT and all of that, but it's also very rooted. I mean, look what you guys, what you Malama down, what those guys are doing in Waipio. Like they're still running Lotus, which is backbreaking work.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we need it because it's humbling.
It is. That's why they call it therapy.
Yeah, yeah. Or a terrorist. I feel like being one of those these days.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's another that discussion is in itself, I think, has value, and it's hope. It's this thing that I noticed that you don't do, from our friendship, like I mentioned earlier. Like you don't say bad things about other people.
Oh, I try to elude that at all costs.
Yeah.
Because that serves no one any justice. There's first of all the weight of a projection or gossip and like just carrying that weight lessens the importance of the conversation. It just now you're starting from a low frequency, and we need to start from the start. We need to visit higher planes of consciousnesses. That's what we're here to ground. Higher states of consciousness, which is, joy and love, affection, inspiration, altruism. We have to pull these out of each other more because they create better ideas and conversations. And it's just a better way to paint a picture of a person or a circumstance too.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't want to start from the bottom and come up. We want to start from the top and
stay at the top.
And stay at the top. And stay at the top. And if the bottom wants to come up, that's great. And that's how we move forward. But we're not going to come down and, lessen our chance of moving ahead. So
or you didn't put other people down to put yourself in a higher place.
Yeah, no, that's
I appreciate that. I like that. And I think that needs to be at the forefront of a lot of conversations and a lot of before people say anything negative about somebody. Like, and I watch Hawaiians argue with other Hawaiians, and the only people that are winning are the politicians and the corporations.
For sure.
So, and they're sitting back and they're laughing at us.
They're laughing. They're like, oh, these Hawaiians don't have it together. They're all, but if we show them unity consciousness, they can't come up against it. They can't even come close.
Well, so that was my whole thing up at like Mauna Kea, because Mauna Kea showed that, like, if Mauna Kea was a working business model, it worked.
It did. You fed how many people were fed and housed and educated in just teamwork
and the unity.
No
and
money.
it was people's ability to put aside everything else in life and come together on a single point and fight for it and stand strong and stand tall.
Yeah.
And then, and once that left, once that stopped,
The fragmentation came back.
yeah, and then it's like, hey, so even when we were talking about this whole pandemic thing, and
Mhm.
I talk a lot with a lot of people about that,
Sure.
and I'm just like, where's those Hawaiians?
Yeah.
Because
Where's that unity?
not only that, it's because we being up there, we have to remember their how they tried to divide us, and
Mhm.
nobody was like, nope,
It's not gonna happen.
yeah, not gonna happen,
It's not gonna happen.
and you're lying because
Yeah.
we're up here. But
Yeah.
now somehow we've allowed their lies and their manipulations to
Mhm.
actually take root itself
Right.
in in our daily fabric,
Yeah.
and then divide us. And now it turned into this thing where vax versus no vax, and
Yeah.
it's
That's not even what it is. That's not even what
no,
it is. Because I'm not opposed to that vaccine. Just don't tell me I gotta take them when it's saying not even approved.
yeah,
That's the part I don't like. Don't
yeah,
tell me to do anything I don't want to do until I'm ready.
yeah, exactly.
And
It's
if and
like
there,
religion, like religion is for some people and it's not for some people,
yeah.
and then some people become religious later on in life, but
Hmm.
everything has a unique time of coming
Yeah.
together when it should come
Sure.
together.
Sure.
And but until then, don't beat other Hawaiians up on their beliefs.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, and I was just like, man, we're fighting about this. And I told other people, you know what it is? It's a civil rights violation.
Yeah. Oh,
And
for sure.
and the fact that we
Yes.
have to remember that if we let them. So I made this example.
Okay.
Okay. So what vax and non-vaccinated, it created a caste system, a
Yep.
two a
Yeah. Yeah.
two-tier level system where
Guarantee.
they're they have vaccinated people and unvaccinated people. And
Hmm.
right now the vaccinated people
Hmm.
have this almost like this entitlement to them where they say, "Oh, you guys are the dirty spreaders and you shouldn't be here, you shouldn't be there." When all you really did was took a little pinch.
Yep.
You took a
Hmm.
little pinch and now you feel you're better than
Entitled. Yeah.
entitled and you're better than a certain group of people.
Or you're yeah, you're entitled to your safety of not
Well,
rid-
that's a moot argument also,
right.
because if it stopped the transmission,
Yeah.
then okay, maybe there's an
There,
argument
yeah,
there.
right, right.
But
But
when you are well, I won't even when you're equal, I'm not going to say more transmissible
right, no,
because
no.
then we'll go into
Yeah,
numbers and
yeah,
fight each
sure.
other on facts. But
Right.
I'll just say equally transmissible
Yeah.
for this vaccine. You're not better than me.
Yeah.
And if your thing is, oh, I'm saving my kupuna, you're not. You added a extra layer of antibodies to yourself and only yourself.
Yeah.
You still can be asymptomatic and you
Oh,
can
and
still
a
spread it
carrier.
and carry
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
So you didn't save your
Mm-mm.
kupuna. You know what I mean? So that argument and that angle just
Yeah.
has to stop coming
It
from
does
people
have,
already.
yeah, it has to stop. It's all misinformation. I mean, look at Israel and Gibraltar. They have this high vaccination
Right.
rate
Yeah. What,
and they
90?
have a
Was it 90?
high transmissible rate and they're back where they started from, if not worse.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. Herd immunity is, I mean, it doesn't, if it worked, Israel's like a world power.
Yeah.
Okay. They got all the money in the world to
Mhm.
whatever they want to do to their communities.
Mhm.
And they did it and it failed. So why are we following suit? To me,
Okay, here.
it's
And
really hard.
so this is the example that I made. Okay, so now, so first we fought for, I say it's a civil rights movement, but people argue with me online and say, no, it's not. You can't choose the color of your skin. You know what I mean? And I said, it's not, it's a different, you got to think of it in a different
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
because now, okay, even if it is affordable right now,
yeah,
okay, so it's affordable right now. And so we set in place, and the government sets in place all these things that you're allowed to do this if you're vaccinated.
okay.
But now we already know that you're going to need these booster
You're
shots.
gonna need, yeah,
Okay, so these
I'll
booster shots,
guarantee.
and I just told this to my friend too. I said, so what if the next, say we do this for a year or 2 years, everybody gives in. We do this for
Yeah,
a year or two
yeah.
years, and then that next booster shot is $10,000.
Oh man.
And then right there, so now can you? Now it's the excuse
Yeah,
backed by law,
yeah,
and we've accepted this,
yeah.
that now not all of us. What happens to the middle to lower class that can't afford that $10,000 booster shot.
Yeah.
Now we're the dirty brown kids
Yeah.
again.
Oh, guarantee.
And here, no, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
right?
no, for sure. Yeah. They're just gonna keep dividing us
Yeah,
and
and
making it
that,
apparent.
and now they have the law on their side
Mhm.
that gives them a reason and a
Sure.
legal threshold to create these divides. And now we back of the back of the bus again.
Yep.
What did we fight for?
Nothing. And it's being
Yeah,
monetized. I mean, these people are making fortunes.
the
That's
fortune,
the part I don't understand. Like, why
billions.
are we,
And
you know,
but why are
why are we
Hawaiians
questioning?
fighting other Hawaiians
Right.
so that these foreigners can make all the? You're gonna fight with me to make them all the
Yeah.
money, and
Yeah.
I'm not making anything.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm losing money if anything,
Yeah. Oh,
because a lot
yeah.
of people bought into
Guarantee. Sure.
that narrative and that lie. So it's it's a really confusing time, and you know I think we really need to talk to people, educate people on the true facts. Because
Yeah.
I was talking to my cousin the other day. I was like, "Oh, what, boo? You're not gonna get vaccinated?" I was like, "I'm gonna just wait this one out, see what
Yeah.
happens and
What's the
stuff."
rush?
Yeah, and then right there, he said, "I had to, bro," and I'm like, "My son, get him." And then right there, I was just like, "Well, I won't say his name, but well, you do know he's on Chanta
Yeah.
anyway."
Okay.
But I said, "You do know that doesn't stop you from the transmission rate, right?" He said, "Oh no, bro, it's 87%."
How do they
No,
know
no,
that? They cannot even.
no, that's what I was like.
Oh, okay.
87%.
Oh,
Shut
come
the
on.
fuck
We
up.
are
I'm
not
not
in a
saying that.
pandemic, guys. I work in
Yeah,
an airplane. People are inches apart for 10 hours.
yeah.
We're not in a pandemic. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. If it were, there'd be better measure in secluding, or I'm sorry, in keeping the disease from our shores. And there isn't. It's money, it's politics, it's leveraging,
Basically
all
money
over
though.
again. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah,
And
it's all money.
but then I told people, and if there's any Hawaiians listening to this podcast, you have to understand this. Look what happened to Lanai. Okay? Lanai is owned by what,
Yeah,
95% of Lanai is owned by one rich foreigner.
yeah.
I try not even to use
Foreigner is a good term because
I
they're
try
not
not to
of
use
the native land.
yeah,
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 no,
yeah.
it's so good. It's a proper term.
Mhm. No, because there was just like, I want to use the word haole just because how Nani K. Trask put it in
Oh
the way that she
man,
put it.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
she's just
And how I like to say that, but I don't want to turn off people that don't understand that language or that
right.
haven't.
It's created a derogatory term on its own,
Yeah.
only because people get offended by it. And if you're offended by it, it means that there's maybe a remnant of
Guilt.
knowing. Yeah, I
Maybe.
was just gonna say guilt, but I didn't want to like. Okay, yeah, maybe there's some a check in your conscience there. Like, okay, you kind of know you're in the wrong, but you're playing it off like you're not, and
Yeah.
it's like a whole thing. And so you're instantly feeling attacked.
Mhm.
And
Oh
then
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
minimizing, rationalizing. I got into it. I get into it with people all the time, and
Mhm.
that's always the thing. It's like they're calling me racist. I'm not even saying Howley.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying, hey, bro, what? You gonna drop in, or you gonna the boys telling you go in? You get
Yeah.
okay. I got into it. All these guys, I always see. I'm always in the crossfire, and then I kind of chime in because I'm right there and I witnessed it, so I'm gonna chime in. And instantly, the white surfer says, "Oh, you're racist." But he was dropping in, and the local guy told him go in.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
is he being racist? You're dropping in, own it, go in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
That's a good way to put it.
right.
Yeah.
But always they come in saying
Play victim.
You're yeah.
They like to
Because
play
they know.
victim.
I think it's like a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Like they know already they're wrong,
Defense
so
mechanism.
the ego jumps out and said, "Hey, you know what?
That's a defense mechanism.
That's the
Yeah.
one."
No, yeah. I've never heard
The
of it.
the real DM.
I've never heard it referred to it like that, but it that kind of does make sense. Wow, defense mechanism. Yeah,
But that's what it is because they're so quick, they're so triggered.
yeah, to play victim. Also, after that, and just there's this thing where you talk respectfully to people,
Oh, and that's
You
what
know,
freaks him out the most.
and then right there, it's just
Yeah.
like, and then right there, you bite back. Now you're engaging in that
Yeah,
in
yeah,
kind
the
of that thing.
projection, yeah,
And when
it's
you engage it, you got to remember Hawaii's history,
yeah,
and how we deal
yeah,
with problems, man.
yeah.
Yeah, probably going to get
And,
cracked.
well, yeah, if
You're
you
gonna get
knew the
punched in
history,
the
see,
face.
that's the thing. I wish more people who lived here knew the history.
Mhm,
Go read about the monarchy. Go read. There's a Russian author. His name was Kuykendall, and he wrote 3 books on the Hawaiian monarchy.
mhm,
And there, it was during Kamehameha's reign, and then after he died, had Ka'ahumanu and Liho Liho, and she was the Kuhina Nui, and it went into that reign, and then the third segment is Kalakawa's rule, I believe. I think that's how it's broken up. It's like 150 years broken up. But what's particularly interesting to me is the 1830s to the 1870s, when they
mhm,
had an actual government, Hawaiian government, a working system, and it was acknowledged by all nations in the world, all affluent nations in the world.
mhm.
And so that reign is Kaui Keaoli. That to me, people who live in Hawaii need to learn about that.
Yeah.
Because if you knew about that, you would know how atrocious the annexation was. Everyone knows, like, oh, Hawaii was illegally annexed. Like, oh
Well,
my
they only
God.
know about it
But they
now.
don't know. They know it was, but they don't know the steps that came to its fruition. If
Mhm.
you knew those steps, you would weep and grieve and be in
And if you don't, you're just an
sorrow.
asshole.
Yeah, and if you would cry, you wouldn't even want to, like, step. Your footstep would come so light,
Yeah.
so fast that that's what a kama'aina embodies to me. A person who's knowing of the hardship and the pain that
Mhm,
occurred on these lands, and then being more respectful to the ancestry and the lineages.
mhm,
So when you see Hawaiians, genetically how they're suffering.
mhm,
Because we're embedded in that grief. It's like,
mhm.
so that was another thing I wanted to mention. Maybe, some of these Hawaiians are feeling reluctant to this COVID ordeal because their ancestry was decimated by
Mhm.
measles and mumps
No,
and right.
I had that
So
argument
it might
too.
be in the DNA and they don't even know.
Well, I saw that argument brought out by a few individuals
Okay.
that I actually look up to them,
Yeah,
and
no, for sure.
I was
It's
just
a
like,
it's a
wow,
decent
I you know
perspective.
I like this person, but when the person said it like that, then I was just like, but you can't use the what ifs.
Right, right.
What if
That's
they're
fear based. That's why.
yeah, and that's what they did to argue with me. And it's just to argue with me. They said, "Oh, what if we had vaccines back when we lost 80% of our population?"
Okay,
And
but
I was like,
we
"There's a what if it didn't
yeah,
exist,
exactly.
or what if we were exposed to it in such a small increments that Hawaiians built up the antibodies that we
Mhm,
do have now today,
mhm, mhm.
that we wouldn't have to go through that anyway."
Okay.
So, and then they didn't have that's the thing. Vaccines, the measles vaccine was created 100 fucking years later.
Yeah, and it took almost 100 years to figure out.
Yeah.
Like, that's why what's the rush with this thing?
There's my other point. So why are
Right.
we rushing now?
Because they
Because
want control.
they
They wanna control us.
yeah. But then and my thing and the scary part to this whole everything going on right now, the scariest part is that when Hawaiians fight each other about this, you need to understand this civil rights.
Yeah.
And you need to be shoulder to shoulder with
Yeah,
us
yeah, yeah,
fighting
yeah.
doing the rallies, the emails, the mayor's house, the capitol.
Yeah.
Because if not, and they create this two-tiered class system, we already have a hard time, and we're
We're
getting
gonna lose
outsourced.
more and
Yeah.
more and more with that
We are
division.
lucky and blessed to be here, and most of us won't be here for that much longer.
Yeah, yeah.
And already we have Hawaiians that are they're a little bit more educated on the subject and stuff. It's like, I'm just fucking moving.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah. I know.
We're losing a lot of strong, educated Hawaiians just because they don't like fighting. They're like, I'm
Yeah.
tired, bro. I cannot do this all the time.
Right.
I don't know how you do it. But I cannot do this. I don't like argue. I don't. They're avoiding. They're avoiding a fight that actually needs to happen, needs to come with
Right.
us.
Well, it's holding truths. It's holding a stance in bringing these truths to light, and that is a war in itself. That takes courage and
Yeah.
stamina. And yeah, I would like to see more people together on the subject, but unfortunately, it's not yet. I think everyone eventually. I mean, we're only in early stage. We're infancy stage,
Mhm.
really. I
Yeah.
mean, the end result is AI. We all know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the end result.
Mm.
And AI. I mean, look at Elon Musk. He begged heads of state all over the world not to do it because AI has no compassion. It'll emulate a human through and through, but it does not have our compassionate spirit.
Mhm.
And so we will lose that. Like, just think in 100 years what humanity is going to be like.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that cool if we keep going the way we're going.
Yeah.
We're going to digress.
Yeah. We're gonna lose all the small little joys. Like actually, like
Or
I
not. I mean, we could be cool too. I mean, we're going to be
but
cool for sure, but
I
we're
don't know
not
how
gonna, it's not going to be as easily to be cool. It's not going to be as easy to be cool. It's
like
going
you
to
think
be
about compassionate people. Compassionate people can look at a sunrise or a sunset in a way that
uh-huh.
uncompassionate people can't.
Yeah.
They're like amazed
Right.
and you feel so small but
Yeah.
so grateful. Yeah.
You're like on your knees.
Yeah. But uncompassionate people is just like,
I
what are
need
we
to
doing
get what's
now?
my crypto doing today?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Where are we
Like,
going?
where yeah.
What
I need to get on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, compassion.
We're in a
Which it's kind of
crossroad.
like the foundation of aloha too, So
Absolutely.
it definitely plays it's woven into the Hawaiian fabric. So we all got to remember to stay compassionate, even and the fact that we might not understand
Uh-huh.
something
Uh-huh.
at the moment, but because we don't understand it, it doesn't mean it's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? It
Right.
doesn't mean it's wrong, or it just means that you don't understand it at that point,
Mhm.
and they do,
Yeah.
and respect them on that. Because it's like if I go fishing, and I think because I watch YouTubes on how to catch an ulua, but you've caught 20 of them,
Right.
but I've watched a guy catch 100 on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, no, that's not how you do it. But
Yeah.
I sit here with this stance and tell them that's
That's
not how
right.
you do it.
That's right. Yeah.
But you have caught 20 and
Yeah.
I've caught 0.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I don't understand what he's doing at that time, but I think
Yeah.
I do. But just
Yeah.
because I think I do doesn't mean I really do. Stay in your lane, humble yourself.
I was just gonna say humility.
Yeah, humble
With
yourself.
humility, you gain a bigger and better awareness
Mhm.
of what's going on because you're not boxed in by your thoughts. Like, thoughts are diminish you from the experience.
And ego.
Yeah, it should be more of a feeling. We should
Yeah,
feel our way through instead of think our way through.
yeah.
So
That's a good guy. Yeah, bro. You're bringing all kind of like. What book did you
just
just
old
read?
school stuff. It's all basic stuff. We just need to remind ourselves.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
all. It's not much of anything, but it's everything, right? And so I really like Taoism. So that was Lao Tzu, and he was an Asian philosopher,
Oh yeah.
spiritualist, and his theories are very paradoxal. So it's like it's not good, it's not bad. What is really isn't. You are everything, you are nothing. All those kinds of things. I'm pretty sure Polynesians had the same respect to ego and being a human. We overthink things and we think too big of ourselves sometimes. And a guru will remind you that you're really just nothing. You're just passing through, and your experience is it's thought based, but it should be more centered in the soul consciousness. So the ancient civilizations always bring us back, and I love studying all the ancient philosophies. Is they were in a different place. So Earth resonated different back then. Like, there were no EMFs, there were no toxins and pollutants, and it was very pure and pristine, and the subtle energy, the subtle body of rocks and plants and animals were of much more voluminous, right? So we were able to get these inspirations clearer. So that's why we had so many gurus back then. Like, we don't have gurus now because it's so hard to get clear.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of great specialists
Mhm.
and scientists and all, and
Mhm.
it's great, and it's the reasoning mind, which
Mhm.
is awesome. But what about that soul-based consciousness now? Like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Had plenty back
Who
then
is that
because it was
guy?
easy, right? That's what I always say. I'm like, we need a messiah because it was easy to resonate on that frequency. It was easy to get downloads and think really clearly upon, contemplation on life. And now it's kind of like we have so many things in the way that it's like, the veil is not that easy to get past, So,
Mhm.
I admire the ones who practice meditation.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Oh, yeah, yeah.
admire that. I admire the ones who put the work in to really slow that brainwave state. So beta brainwave state is the waking state mind. So we're always thinking, logical, blah
Mhm.
blah blah. And then we go alpha, delta rather. Alpha, delta, okay, that's sleep state. Theta, now we're slipping into REM. And then gamma is when you're like astral projecting. Like your wave state length is so slow. So it's kind of like colors. Colors
Like
all have,
lucid.
yeah, it's very slow. So like beta, we're like this because
Okay.
beta's great. That's the waking state. I love beta state. But the healing state, when we want to go into homeostasis and make all the anti-aging hormones, we're going to slow that brainwave state down so their glands can secrete these hormones, which include, a robust immune system. And now you're making all
Uh-huh.
these great, you're in you're in a
Naturally.
self-regulating state
Yeah.
because you are visiting that slow
And
wave
and
state
and
line.
it's it's all you have to, and for anybody listening and to her describe this, have you ever seen a fat, sloppy yoga
Oh no.
guru? Dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's true. Because okay, so that's the grasping mind the Buddhists call it. When you're grasping, okay,
Mhm.
you like you hungry, you like go shopping, you like do this, you like do that.
Which I'm guilty of.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
me too. I
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
sushi and Louis,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But okay, but it's not a habit.
Yeah.
We
If you can
it's a
keep it in
lifestyle.
check.
Right. It's okay to have do nice things and squander, and be gluttonous. That's fun. But if it's a habit, then you're in trouble.
Mhm.
Right. And then the Buddhists call it the grasping mind. It's like you always feel like you need to be holding on to something.
Mhm.
But when you let go is when you really truly, achieve these states of higher consciousnesses because you're revisiting the nothingness. Like we come from, we want to go to that gap of nothingness. That's where we came from. That's
Mhm.
where everything, the unified state is, the quantum unified state is. That's where we want to go because all the
The
answers are
nothing.
there. The nothing is everything. So we go, it's like that paradoxal. So,
What was that show? Well, Atreyu and
oh my
the nothing?
God, never ending story.
Yeah, dude, that's such a good show. But so have you ever rewatched like those kid movies when you're older and you
And you're
and you
like,
that
holy,
shit is deep.
yeah.
Like The Giving Tree. Like
Oh,
I
I
love Shel
know.
Silverstein's
Yeah,
Giving
yeah,
Tree.
yeah, yeah,
And I read it when I was like I bought it for my daughters just a few years ago and I
yeah,
cried. I
yeah.
was like, "Oh my god,
So
this
profound,
fuck."
so
Yeah.
simple. Why do we complex it? Like,
Yeah.
why do we make things so complicated?
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to visit. There we go. We go back to the Shire. We're Jetsons,
Mhm.
but we go back to the Shire because that's where we go into the gamma and the delta wave state length, and we really slow the mind down because the thinking mind affects the physical body, obviously. So all these fear-based thoughts that
Mm.
is going out right now, that's on purpose. That is to diminish the strength of the energetic body of a human. If
It
there's any
worked on me.
resonance, what's
That
that?
that worked on me. The stress and
Oh, for
anxiety
sure.
of this COVID thing and that
Oh,
I was dude, I gained
absolutely.
25. I'm chubby, and which
Oh my
made me.
God,
I
stop. You're
already
not.
felt like I was like chubby before, like
Okay,
I
so
needed to
that's
lose 20.
cortisol. That's cortisol. Whenever you see, the abdomen kind of extended, that's stress.
Mhm.
So like, when people smoke ice and drink plenty of beer
They're
over here,
shredded out.
young
Oh no,
guys,
the
young
ice guys all shredded. I was like, "Oh, how's Uncle, bro? He's
no, or
ripped,
not,
huh?"
or they're big because
Oh,
that's right. I mean, that's whenever anybody who like stresses the adrenals, right? Whatever
mhm.
drug or drink you choose,
Yeah, yeah.
you stress the adrenals, you're gonna get this padding on the abdomen,
Mhm.
and that's from cortisol, and that's the stress hormone. You're not making the anti-aging hormone. You're not making oxytocin and
The things you want to make.
serotonin and vasopressin. These are all the hormones we naturally make that big pharma has synthesized and
Mhm.
said, "Oh, you're not feeling good today. Boom, take this."
Yeah, yeah.
It's emulating the natural hormones we already make.
Mhm.
So the more we go into these slower wave state lengths, And whatever. You don't have to sit like a guru and meditate. You can go on a walk, like do whatever makes you feel, unified, back in that unified plane.
Mhm.
For me, it's surfing. Like there's nothing more that forces you into present moment.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I tell like, when
Right?
no, yeah, even when, like, sometimes I have friends that go through, like, relationship problems and
Oh
stuff,
man.
and I always use surfing as the analogy to kinda describe,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
the relationship. I was like,
yeah.
"Okay, so remember how that felt when you're riding that wave? The only thing that matters is what you're gonna do, and, you killed that wave, you barreled,
Yeah.
you did it air, and
Right.
it felt really good,
Yeah.
and after when that wave was done, just like how this relationship is now
Mhm.
done,
Mhm.
are you sitting in the channel crying and being depressed?" You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then
no, you're paddling back up for a one auto and like as
yeah,
fast as you can.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just get you don't
Mhm.
know. This person might not have been the right one for you,
Right.
but
And
you're
they and
sitting.
obviously not,
Yeah,
right? I
obviously
mean,
not.
because
Yeah, but, I was like, "Get out of the channel now. Paddle
yeah,
back out
paddle
there."
back out.
Yeah.
A relationship's like a mirror. So in essence, you learned more about yourself through that person than you ever would anyone else. So you did shadow work with this person.
Mhm,
Be grateful for that. There's going
mhm,
to be someone else who's going to teach you more shadow work. And
mhm.
maybe someone else, or maybe not, or maybe that one person is going to perpetually teach you shadow work. But that's how a relationship is. I hate when people put so much emphasis, like, "Oh, I failed I am the failure in the relationship," and it's like, no, it's not. You failed, or she failed, or whatever. It's just the work is up. The bids, the contract's done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just
The wave
it.
is done.
Yeah, just be
Yeah.
in acceptance of it, and we're always learning about ourselves. That's the trick.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, tell me that's not a good analogy, right?
Oh, of course, surfing is the best analogy for everything:
Yeah, dude.
money, finances, relationship, family,
Yeah,
like whatever. Right? It's
I remember I read this book, when I was in jail. It was called Snowboarding to Nirvana,
oh
and it
neat.
was, it was the snowboard. He was really into
I
snowboarding, and he
like
was
that.
trying to find enlightenment, and
Yeah.
he's reading all these books, and towards the end of the book, he realized that he was living an
Mhm.
enlightened life because he
Yeah.
was doing things that he
He's
liked that brought him joy and stuff. So
uh,
everything he was searching for, he already had.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that
And
was
and
very.
if you look at some of the top athletes in the world, they have a very light there's a lightness about them. They're tapped in. They're obviously tapped in to a higher state of consciousness. They're on a higher level. They're athletic. They're holistically they are on a higher plane,
Yeah, yeah,
and they
yeah.
don't really have
And their body's working very,
heavy.
yeah,
Yeah.
super well, and they're
Yeah.
interconnected.
Very light.
Everything's like
Uh-huh.
firing off
Yeah.
correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. So neurochemistry of an athlete, and even someone, and more in particular a surfer, is very unique, because surfing is like you can't try too hard. It's kind of guru like
It
state,
is, dude.
like golf too. Like if you try too hard, you're done.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Don't
Oh, golf, yeah,
even.
yeah, I guess so.
You're not even playing the game. Like you have to really go into instinct and
Mhm.
intuition, and that to me is I like that's the higher state.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
higher level.
But so, okay, so, we won't say what airlines you work for, but you are a flight attendant.
Yes,
And,
I am.
I've talked to you about this too before, because I wanna travel to
Oh,
I wanna
yeah.
travel to Texas, I wanna travel to Florida, either
Yep,
or,
you should.
and I wanna document and see what it's like to be out there.
To
It's
live
to
in a
revisit a reality that I know can still exist,
yeah,
and the only
yeah.
thing that's stopping that reality from existing is a
Mhm,
handful of people that are paid off by big pharma, and that there's monetary gain involved in all the decisions that they're forced and the ways that they're
mhm.
forcing us to live.
Yep.
And to me, that's heavy.
Yeah, they really made our world smaller, didn't they? They made the free thinkers' world small
Yeah,
real quick.
yeah. But
So
I think we gotta remember that. We gotta share that. We gotta remember that, and we have to. I think we have to keep on not re-educating, but keep on sharing that EK with others to just
mhm.
know that we'll get through this. First off, that we
Oh
will
yeah,
get through
we're
this.
gonna get through it. The
Yeah.
light always wins.
Yeah.
We're just, I don't. Have you heard of Dolores Cannon? She was, she's
Maybe.
an older woman. She passed away. She's like a channeler. She's all about the new earth and being 5 dimensional, and it's on the heels of New Age, but not like there's some science to her theory. And but anyway, if you listen to some of her talks, it's really neat. It's like there's a timeline and it's being split. So there's going to be the ones in the 3 dimensional stage of living, which is like very fear based. It's very material. It's a lower frequency. It's kind of what we've been doing. And then the 5 dimensional is a person who has more intuition. So they're operating with more intuitive, knowledge. So now we're empathetic. We're very conscious. We're very healthy. We're moving in another. We're vibrating at a different frequency, just like the gamma and the delta and the color waves. Right, we're all wave
Okay.
state. That's what quantum is, right? Quantum physics is where it's a wave state, and so we're at a timeline split. This world, this 3D world, is always going to exist because it's embedded in the matrix and the way things have been portrayed through government, through industry. It's a machine like existence, okay?
Okay.
The 5D is where I think we're at. We're more thinking of solutions and sustainability, and we have a lighter imprint on our planet, and we're here to help each other, and we're just very like ethereal. It's like it's easy for us to do this because this is how we're designed, and our DNA is upgraded, so we're kind of like, oh, it's that's the way we want to go. I believe there's 9 dimensional people on this planet. Like that's what a guru would be. Just a really light footprint, right? So we're at this timeline. And so Dolores is awesome. And she gives a lot of great metaphor on like our planet, our earth is like shaking fleas off right now, like we're gonna get more natural disasters. We're gonna get upheaval and all these things, but it's gonna shake things up and like it's gonna like just scatter the lower frequencies out and hopefully help us implement better sustainable wisdoms and systems. And so she's one of the few. I mean, there's so many channelers or whatever, but she's one of the few that it really, to me, she speaks profound truths. And she's this woman from like the Midwest with like a perm and wearing polyester, okay? But she channels the most significant forward-thinking, ideologies, and it's so paradoxical, but it's so fun to watch her and her accent and everything. But the stuff coming out of her, out of her channel is like so. It's like it's so there, and to me, I feel like that's where we're going,
You
and
can learn a lot from
we
it.
can learn a lot from a lot of these kind of woo-woo people. But woo-woo is one thing, but being grounded is another thing.
Yeah.
A lot of these hippies. I live in Puna, so I get all kind, right?
Yeah.
And they're very woo-woo, but the trick is to ground, not just send it.
Well, for me, the thing that I learned to do is like, if I have a tool belt and somebody's saying something that resonates with me and that I understand and that makes a lot of sense to me, I take that right there, put it in my tool belt.
I like it.
Because if they go off tangent and then they start talking about drinking babies' bloods and that's what's happening, but at that point, I can cut
Reel it
that
back.
off.
Reel it
And
back,
but I've taken what I've needed to take
Yeah.
and for my personal growth,
Precisely. Yep.
take what you need from people, take the information,
Yeah. I like that.
and then apply it to your own
Yeah,
life. Find
I
your
like
own
it.
formula, yeah. And we don't have to be stuck. Just because I liked something that person said at one time
Right.
doesn't mean I
right.
co-sign on everything they say from then on.
Yeah.
It's just
That's
that
right.
moment, just that either action or thought
Yeah.
that I appreciate, and then I can use for myself in my own life,
Sure.
yeah. And
Yeah, that's
we're not
nice.
stuck to this, we're not married to that person. We're not stuck to that person's ideals
Yeah.
for the rest of our lives, Take what you can and move on.
It's like life is like a buffet. Take what you want, leave the rest. Right?
Yeah.
It's kinda- I mean, there's so much information out there right now.
Yeah.
What's resonating most with you at this particular time is it's what's cool. But I feel like along the board, we're all kind of moving toward the stance in preserving truths and freedoms and,
Mhm,
sustainable rights and,
mhm.
sovereign humanity. Like, who would have thought we'd be fighting for that right
I know,
now?
yeah.
Who would have thought? Like, we have to look into
Like, we
our
came
food
so
and
far.
water sources. Yeah, we were, just a year and a half ago, we, were all over. One of my last layovers was in New Zealand.
Mhm. How was that?
Incredible. And so, I there's vineyards. It's very whimsical there, and the Maori culture is very embedded. It hasn't been fucked with. It hasn't been excavated and put on display at museums. It's still in the earth. So it still feels really powerful. Yeah,
Mhm,
the Kiwis are there.
mhm,
They're
mhm,
just
mhm.
like over here. They get plenty of money, that whole
Yeah, yeah,
thing. But for the most part, the Polynesians have ownership of the land. That's what I love about Molokai too.
yeah.
The Aina feels it resonates different when natives are thriving.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
just does. And
Yeah,
that's what New Zealand, and so it saddens me, that we can't go there. It doesn't look like we're going to go back for a while. I mean, they had one COVID case and they closed the entire, and they're blaming it on a Samoan church gathering. I mean, come on.
yeah,
Come on. I cannot.
yeah,
I feel like it's an attack on the indigenous peoples almost. Like,
yeah.
culture is going to is the key to all truths.
Mhm,
And think about all the cultures who have just been like snuffed.
yeah.
Like a
Native
British,
American.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the British,
The British.
the British colonized every rad cultural site. I mean, they went to India, they went all over the Caribbean, they
Yeah,
went through Africa. Like, they shut down the efforts there and colonized it because it's the right thing to do,
yeah, and made a fucking ton of money doing so.
money, and just covered native truths.
Mhm.
I think we'd be such a healthier society if we embodied and lived, practice these indigenous ways.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
we need to go
Totally.
back to where we came from. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
They had it all figured out,
yeah.
and we
So
can
the
do it in a way that it's a good foundation. I've said this before too on a different podcast.
the only
Our old ways
foundation.
have good foundations,
Right.
but we're not stuck to 100% of the old ways. Like,
Yeah.
if you eat with your girlfriend, you're not gonna
Oh,
get
well,
you didn't
Aikapu
break.
was a little stringent.
You know,
Okay,
all well, all those
that was
things.
a little
Like
bit right.
we're not we've grown, we've evolved.
Okay, well, in that regard, right? Cultural practices, like the
Mhm.
protocol, rather. So David Malo wrote Hawaiian Antiquities, and
First grad from Lahaina Luna,
he
yeah.
was okay, him and like Henry Obakaya. They were. I always say every Hawaiian man should read Ruling Chief Samuel Kamakaua, because
I
these
did read
were
that.
these were real account. These Hawaiians were able to consort with the royals, with
Mhm.
the who's who, and they
Yeah.
wrote accurate accounts on
And defending Lahui.
protocol. What's
Have you
that?
read that? Defending Lahui?
Oh, that's Kamakau too, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's an accurate account of what they did back then,
Mhm.
and it was
But
no fuck around. Like,
yeah.
they,
But even though there it was, even when you read that, you're like, "Whoa." Oh,
yeah. Oh, ruling chiefs made my blood boil.
yeah. Yeah, it's probably couldn't get away with that, but
No, of course
there's
not.
still a
But
lot of lessons in there
right.
to implement and kind of build on
Well, all
that are super
the
helpful.
integrous ways,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And then Lily Kala, she's one of my favorite. She wrote Native Land Foreign Desires. That was a
Oh,
heavy book
that sounds
too.
good.
The bookstore right here has it. It's $35.
I think
asked the
I
lady
think I
one day.
suffer from that.
Yeah, no, so it's an excellent book. And so I had her on a flight once, and I was like, "Oh, Auntie, your book. I mean, if anyone is to read a book, it's yours." And she's a professor, and blah blah blah. She was on her way. I think she was on a JFK, or she may have just come back from the East Coast. But anyhow, she took a group throughout Europe, and they visited every city that Kalakaua had visited. And she was offering this tour, and she was just incredible. That book, Auntie Haunani, those women stood for a lot, and they took it's just incredible what their message was, and still is. It'll always be very profound. Whenever you get a wahine like that who's very educated,
Yeah.
it is not to be
I
messed
oh,
with,
I
you
love
know?
her lectures. I love YouTube and watching her lectures still yet to this day.
Yeah.
But then again, it brings me back to that, what we're going through right now
Mhm.
and why it's civil rights.
Yeah.
Civil rights was if you were a slave, you weren't allowed to vote.
Right.
It's the same thing with a Hawaiian.
Yeah.
If you're a Hawaiian, you weren't allowed to vote.
Yeah.
Then they put all these things in place. That's why it's always they're always trying to implement a two-tier system that they're on the higher tier.
Right.
So,
Sure. That
but that's why I need people to come out and fight with us because, back, look at our history. Look at the US government's, their track record.
yeah.
You weren't
Not
you
not
weren't
so good.
yeah, you weren't
Not
but how
so
are
good.
how are Hawaiians just buying into it and giving into it so easily right now? That's the thing that like
Right. I mean, there
I
was
trip
there was
out.
a time when you know, our royals pleaded with some of the delegates in Washington D.C. They went and said, "Hey, these are huge injustices on our people. What are you guys going to do about it?"
Mhm.
Like they traveled for months. It took 6 months to sail from
Yeah.
Honolulu to D.C. And they did it. Kaiolani did it. They, Kuhio, all those, all the
He died on the
I
he died
thought
on that trip.
Prince Kuhio did.
Did,
I don't know that.
was it Kuyo or Kalakaua that died on the
Oh, Kalakaua died in San
San
Francisco.
Francisco? Yeah. So did he die or was he assassinated?
Who? No, well, he was the highest Mason, and he
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
a dignitary of the world. I mean, he
Yeah.
apparently he had the.
He had a lot of power and
Who knows?
influence.
We don't know what
Yeah,
was going. All I do know is it's just these people stole
Yeah.
the crown. I mean, they literally stole it.
But
And
how, as a society, how did we come so far? You weren't allowed to vote if you're a woman, and we've got through that.
yeah,
You weren't
we've come a
allowed.
long way.
We've come a long way.
Why is it such a slippery slope now?
Yeah. I mean, you weren't, what is that? 15 years, 20 years ago? You weren't even allowed to love someone and marry someone if you were the same sex.
Yeah.
And we've
Yep.
come so far as a
Or
society.
age. Look at the age thing. Now they want all this pedophilia rights.
You have to. I think my personal opinion is that that's not part of that movement, and that was brought in as a way to
sidetrack to diminish
yeah.
the fabric, the integrity.
of that
Yeah,
whole
well, they
movement.
want. So my theory is a little out there, but I'll just say it. What the heck? So I mean, maybe I won't say it because it's a little out there, but basically they're trying to blur the lines between what's male and female.
Yeah,
Okay. And the Holy Trinity it's the polar, and it's not just Christianity, it's a lot of other ancient cultures and spiritualities. The male and the female and God are this perfect holy trifecta, and you're able to co-create, and it's this beautiful thing, and it's very sacred.
Mhm.
Okay. And so on the flip side of that, you get this very unsustainable,
Mhm.
I mean, I love the fact that people can have children together, same sex. I love that. I think that's beautiful. Love is love.
Mhm.
But when they're trying to urge people to change their gender, their sexual organs, because they're adolescent and they're confused,
Mhm.
that to me is embarking on this realm of evil. I don't know
Yeah.
what I like to say. I mean, that's just not.
I've thought about that a lot too.
Why are you trying to confuse this kid as to whether or not he's a male or a female? Let them grow to choose. Why are you? Anyway, I don't know enough to comment on it, but to me, I'm just seeing a lot of things that don't correlate with this sacred union.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've thought about that too because I have a 8 and 9-year-old daughter. They're both girls,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
And one of them's a little bit more
Well,
local than the other one. The other one's
sure.
like a little bit.
They're really
I'm a vegan now.
feminine and right.
I'm a vegan, but I like chicken McNuggets.
And the other one likes shoot guns. So it's like whatever. But give her a chance.
Yeah.
Wait till she's 17. Like, I was 19 when I lost my virginity. I'm just gonna say it. I'm 19. I didn't know I wanted to, have sex until I was a lot older because it's a big responsibility.
Mhm.
And so I think kids, when they're being urged at such a young age to explore their sexuality.
I was 11.
Okay, well, yes. I think it's predisposition for,
Well,
these
I hung
girls
out
to be
older kids and
exploited.
yeah.
Like women should keep that sacredness as
Mhm,
long as they can. They shouldn't feel pressured to want the attention of boys at
mhm.
12 years old,
Yeah,
and feel inclined to their desires at that such a
mhm,
young age. I think it should be urged to not even visit those desires until you're mature enough to know, perhaps you have a kid, like you're gonna procreate, you're gonna have sex. So,
mhm.
the thought that they're pushing these young girls to learn, what did they have on Netflix? They had to ban that movie with the young girls twerking. Remember
Oh.
that? They were like 12 years old, and it was like I can't, I remember, I just, it
Yeah.
eluded my memory. It was
Uh,
last year. It was this whole thing. It was like 12-year-olds twerking. As a whole movie about it, and people were pissed, and it got banned. I can't remember the movie, but that needs to just stop because it's just like it's an assault. It's an attack on women and the sacredness of these young women, and
mhm,
it's just pedophilia is rampant.
mhm, mhm,
We already know it, and there's no effort to curb it or call it out. And that to me is just another layer of the evil demise that's upon us right now. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
one more layer and upon layer upon layer. I mean, we could just go on and on about
Yeah.
how messed up our world is, but you know, that is we can rise above that, and that's gonna fall. Truths always prevail, right?
Mhm,
Lies are they disseminate. But it's so important to call the lies out,
mhm.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
truths hold more weight,
Yeah, it does.
but the lies need to be called out. And that's when they're trying to make you sound like a terrorist when you're calling out these lies.
Yeah.
Right? What's the new definition of a terrorist? Like if you oppose COVID
And it
protocol,
just
if
the mainstream narrative of
yeah,
whatever's
oh, you
happening.
and I are terrorists
Yeah,
because we post stuff on,
yeah. And the thing is, like, I get fact checked, and I get these facts from like
Oh,
the same
I bet
sources.
you get shut down a couple days sometimes. Like your viewership goes, yeah.
Oh, I know I was shadow banned, and
Oh,
you
guarantee.
if you look at my Instagram, you can see like what I normally had
Yeah, yeah. Like
until what
no
I have
likes
now.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean
So,
not no, but you know what I mean. Like
mhm. But
definitely the algorithm. That's what AI does. It changes algorithms. It's
mhm,
like we're gonna be. They want to diminish us to nobodies
yeah.
because we're standing up for ourselves. Like
Mhm,
that to me is. I mean, it's in the Bible. It's all biblical. It's all prophesized, and if people want to deny it, they can, but the truth will always be right in your face. And
yeah.
yeah.
That's a good way to put it. So, being, working as a flight attendant, you've got to travel to all these places, and
Oh wow.
is it is
Seen
it
a
still
lot.
normal out there?
Seen a
Because
lot.
I think
Oh, okay. So I just got back from New York the other day, and I love New York City. Okay, one of my favorite places. It's the most forward-thinking city, where anything goes, and it's just like it's so beautiful. It's been worked on for so many creative minds are there. It's been built upon some really incredible creative
creative, yeah,
thoughts and forward thinking people and the architecture, and
the
everything great
energy.
comes out in New York, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's layer upon layer of just greatness. So big fan of the city. I just started going, I don't know, couple few months ago I went back for the first time in 2 years.
Mhm,
And I just noticed a digression in not only its appearance, there's trash all over. There's a lot of trash. Okay. Normally that city is pretty spick and span, right?
yeah,
They
yeah.
take pride
It
there.
got better. It got better from the 80, yeah.
No, yeah, no, it's just there's lots of trash. New York is for sale, as far as I know. I've had some big time realtors on my flight, and they're like, everything's for sale. Okay, a lot of small businesses gone. A lot of people moved. I know a lot of people who lived in really fancy parts of New York, and they poofed. A lot of them went to Florida.
Yeah.
People.
Texas.
Oh, they're out.
Yeah.
So I was just in FIDI, they call it financial district, and it's Wall Street. It's the stock exchange. It's
Yeah.
the World Trade Center, and so the huge financial capital of the world.
Mhm,
Okay, and it's fortified buildings. Nobody's around.
Empty.
Nobody's around. I mean, there. So that's the thing. Everyone's telecommuting, right? So they all moved here.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
Federal Reserve. Okay, so the most intriguing building to me in the area was the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay, it looked like the fucking Machu Picchu. The Machu Picchu has huge stone blocks like as big as this
Yeah. Yeah.
wall panel. Okay, that's what the Federal Reserve is. It's stone blocks
Mm.
this big, fortified with iron. You know, security guards all around it. I think it's 13 stories up, 7 stories underneath.
Oh, that sounds kind of.
Okay, it looks like an ancient. I don't even know what the thing. It's just New York is not fortified by huge rock panels. That's the
Yeah. Yeah.
only building.
That is like that.
Yeah, and it's just
It
like it's
stands
the
out.
wildest build. I always walk past it and I'm just like, what is really going on? Like, where did you get the stone for once, and what are you fortifying behind? I mean, we know, but just interesting. Like, just money to me is just the root of all evil, and it just is the modern day Babylon. To me, it's just the World Trade Center was right there. Like, it's just it's melancholic.
Yeah.
Whereas the Upper East Side,
Like Dumbo and.
like Brooklyn,
Mhm.
it's more creative minds. Upper East Side has all the great museums, the Met and the
Yeah.
MoMA's in Midtown. I like all the museums, but so I'm down in this. It feels like the dungeon in Manhattan, and I mean it's beautiful. It's cool. I'm such a freak for architecture that it's like Hilo Town. I love walking around
Oh
Hilo.
yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh my god, look at all. I
It's
like
still
old and
pretty
new.
cool. Yeah.
I just
That tsunami museum next
Oh
door is like
yeah.
still
Oh,
amazing. I would say.
everything around this town is it's perfection. And like
Yeah.
old Honolulu too. I used to
Mhm.
love, I mean, I could see past all the homeless and just see it's just extraordinary beauty in these streets and history.
Have you gone to Florida or Texas?
No. I've been to
You haven't?
Texas years ago.
No, not recently. Then.
No, not recently.
Fuck, I'm
Let's
trying.
go. I want to go to that wave
Yeah.
pool.
Yeah. Oh, the one in
Cable
Waco.
Park.
Yeah,
I want to
dude.
go to Cable Park.
BSR.
BSR, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I haven't been to Florida. I don't know why. I've never had a desire to go,
Yeah.
but I heard it's great. I mean, DeSantis is like, what anything
Yeah.
goes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I guess mainstream media is making Florida sound like a hot spot when it's
Yeah.
probably not. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Just
I mean, we
just
don't
like over
know.
here.
You don't know
Yeah.
until you go there.
Yeah.
You don't know shit. Like, people think New York's doing fine. Go there and you're gonna see it's not doing that fine.
Mhm.
Every you gotta go. That's what traveling is so important. Like, you never really know until you go.
Mhm.
And then you can say straight
Yeah.
from the horse's mouth, but you don't tell me because the news told you da 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 da.
Mhm.
Like, I don't. That's why I don't even.
Okay, so I didn't get my question. I didn't get my big question answered, you guys.
Which was what? Which was
How is
what?
Florida and Texas? I was thinking, oh, maybe you traveled there, and I'll save that question until we're on the podcast. So
Well, Texas is known for doing things bigger, right? They have big spaces, big
mhm.
mines. They're very it's just big American dream, big house, big car.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
they have a lot of oil there. So they're freedom loving,
yeah, yeah.
right? That whole thing. Years ago, I went to a place called New Braunfels. It's outside San Antonio, and I was riding for Custom X, and they had a wave pool contest.
Mhm.
So it's called Slitterbahn. So I went to Slitterbahn, and they have the stationary wave, but it's a barrel. Okay, and so got to surf that. And then I made friends with the owners, and the owner's son, I guess, had a crush on me. He was like the 16-year-old. So he hired me. He said, "Hey, can you come back in a month for 2 weeks and babysit my kid?"
Oh, that's cool.
And he was like, "I'll give you $100 a day and put you up." And I was 19. I was like, "Okay, yeah. So if I can serve every day, I'm down." So I came back, and these kids, this group of Texan kids, never been in the ocean. They know how to operate that wave.
Mhm.
That's a rubber mat wall.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's this hydraulic system. It's like 100,000 gallons a minute. And they just open the gates and it's just like whoosh. And they can, so when we were there surfing the contest, it was kind of an open wave because guys were like hitting it and drop knee. Ben
Mhm.
was there. Ben,
Yeah, yeah.
my guru, was there. But these kids turned me on to a small, hollow barrel.
Yeah.
I was so sick. I got barreled for like a minute. I'll never forget that. But I do remember the pool was on this river and there was a lot of Indian energy.
Mhm.
Lots of like I just felt Indians the whole time I was there, like ancient Indians, and that was so long ago. That must have been like 95. But I think Slitterbond is still there, and the guy who patented that wave pool, which is at the water park, his name was Tom Lochtefeld, and he built a prototype in his backyard.
Mhm.
It cost him everything, mortgaged the house, lost the wife,
Wow.
like that. He's a mad scientist, right?
Wow, yeah.
Patented that wave, that it was called the Flow Rider, and now it's on cruise ships, and it's in like
Yeah.
every water park in the
Oh,
world,
that's
and
cool.
he kind of killed it. And so now we're looking at
So did the
this
wife
whole
get back together after you made it?
probably, who the heck knows. He was a mad scientist, and he was onto something. That was back then. Now look at what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Look
That's
at Surf
these
Ranch. Like
yeah.
I got to watch the contest.
Did you ever get invited to
I
it?
never. Well, I could have went. I had a chance to go this one time, but I couldn't. It didn't happen. Maybe in the future. So curiously enough, so Kelly, and some investors created it, and everyone thinks Kelly has like free reign on it.
Mhm.
Like everyone hits him up for it. It must be
Yeah.
so irritating for him because he only has it for a couple times a year.
Yeah.
So he's not the guy to hit up. It's his investor, and apparently it got sold to WSL. But you can. It costs a lot to go. But if you get a group, I think you can. I think it's like I don't really know the math. Someone told it to me. I think if you get like up to 10 people, it's like 50 grand for a
Oh,
day.
okay. You know
So
what? Yeah.
each person's like 5 grand for a weekend, and you get like, I don't know, it's a handful of, I don't know. I mean, that's one demographic or
That's
probably
expensive, but
it's a lot.
But when you think like if you get to surf that all day for
Well,
5
you
days,
don't. You
okay,
get
so
like 3 rides a day. The thing takes a long time. It's a train. It's an actual train that
Mhm.
pulls this track, and it's like 700 yards. It's like 2 football fields, right? So you see the thing. It takes a while for the thing to even get going,
Mm.
right? And then you gotta. So it takes a little while. You can't just. It's not like BSR
BSR, yeah.
where the thing is just, all day.
How much is BSR? Do you know?
BSR is like it's like $300 a day,
Okay.
and that one you can ride all day. But Surf Ranch is.
But is it like a lineup or it's
a
take
lineup. You
turns?
paddle in. I think you get like X amount of people in the lineup, and that looks like a launch pad.
It does. I like that.
That one looks fun. Surf Ranch looks sick though. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta do that one. I gotta do it. Surf. I want to bodyboard it and surf it, and I think Kaleo is there. He's the Honolulu lifeguard. He got invited. He's
went.
there right now.
Shut
I know,
up,
cool,
dude. Oh,
right?
that's awesome. Good for him, bro.
One day we'll go.
Okay, well, we have hit our time frame.
Yay!
And
Thank
actually
you
went
for
over,
having
bro.
me.
Thank you so much for coming because I was bugging you for like 4 months already.
I know you really did, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to come.
Well, life happens, man.
I'm
It's been
so
crazy.
busy. I have my dogs in the car. I gotta go buy dinner. I got like all kinds of stuff. But thank you so much. And I think in closing, the more we stay together, the more we're gonna reach higher states of awareness. And some of us know it, and some of us are gonna get to know this. And one way or another, we're going that way.
I like how you just didn't say some of us know it and some of us will get to know it instead of excluding people. I like the way you talk. The way you communicate is, it's very open-minded and super positive. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Keone. I like what you do around here. Keep going, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, everybody. Round Block Podcast, where we talk to people instead of about them. Thank you very much. Aloha.
Oh, mahalo.